Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. And what is this video about? Well, I want to talk about velocity. Have you heard of velocity? It's very popular in Midi. It gets used quite a lot. I suspect you probably have, but if you haven't, I'll give you a very quick summary. In most cases, velocity is used to simulate the difference in dynamics during a kind of hands-on performance of something. So if you play something very soft, you get a softer, quieter sound. And if you play something harder than or far faster or something, and you get a slightly louder sound. Of course, by the time that it reaches the computer, it's just another number in a list of stuff. But in the outside world, it's designed to simulate the dynamics, the sort of the physicality of when you play an instrument or strike something. So for example, if I was to smack myself in the face very softly like this, then we get a quieter sound. But if I do it really hard like this, then it's louder. So you've probably heard of velocity. It's basically a way to make things louder and quieter during a performance when capturing something via Midi. So let's have a look at it in action. Let's pull in a drum rack, and then I'm going to put operator in a drum rack. Just put that down here, and I'm going to stick this to white noise, and I'm just going to draw in a load of notes here, and we can look at the velocity, which defaults always to about 100, which is fine. Let's listen to that. Goodness me. Let's make that sound a little bit more hi-hatty. There we go. So with most Ableton devices, and indeed most Midi things that you use in your DAW, whether it's a sampler or a synth or whatever, most of the time, the velocity is automatically, by default, assigned to the volume, which we can see down here. Currently, this is 50%. If I go back to the clip and draw in some velocity stuff here, you can kind of hear how that's sort of getting a bit quieter. If we increased how much the velocity affects the volume. Let's be more drastic. Come on. There we go. So you can hear how that's kind of given it like a very humanized feel, because like humans aren't robots. Well, some humans are robots, but like, well, no, they're not. But like some humans are very good at, you know, playing consistently with a dynamic consistency, whereas a lot of us kind of fluctuate. And we want that because we want to, you know, it gives it feel, man. It's groove, it's vibes, we're vibing. But I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about different ways that you can use velocity, particularly as using it as a sort of modulation source when you're doing some sound design. Let's say that you're kind of constructing this complete sonic pandemonium of completely modulated out blistronica, and then I've run out of modulation sources. Oh no, what am I going to do? I've used up all my LFOs, I've used up all my envelopes, and like I still want to tweak this sound even more. Well, you can use velocity. You can use velocity. You don't have to use velocity for just volume. You can use it for all kinds of things, because a lot of these instruments have got ways in which you can assign velocity to other things, such as the filter frequency. Let's just do that right now. Let's assign the velocity to the filter frequency, turn that all the way up. Let's go back to the envelope amplitude and just not assign it to the volume. So now we're actually modulating the frequency of the filter. Which is interesting. So, you know, I mean, you kind of might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, like, where's the use in that? Because I can just use automation. Yeah, you can use automation. You can very easily just right-click this and go, oh, no, we can't do that. Do I need to have the clip selected? No. Does it need to be playing? Let's try now. Okay, you can very easily apply some modulation here if you want and get kind of the same result. And that's fine. Do that if you want. But there's a slight difference. Okay, there's a slight difference. Now, what if, for example, that I didn't have notes playing all the time? Well, let's bring in the chance and give a little bit of chance to some of these notes. So some of them aren't going to happen. Let's increase the... So basically what's happening is that even though that a note hasn't happened, that that modulation, what do you call it? That tweaky, wobbly tweak twonk out is still going to happen because that's been baked into the sequence. Whereas if we use velocity, it's really only going to be when an actual note happens, which I think is a little bit more interesting. So if we kind of disable that automation, how do we do that? Let's do select all, delete. Right. Okay. And then we go back. I mean, I forgot that I actually had it signed anyway. So let's go into our MIDI clip. Let's draw in some notes. And yeah, let's give them all like a little bit of chance here. Let's say, let's have them at something like 50%. This first one can be at 100. So they're not happening all the time. Find a little sort of sweet spot here for what I want. I want a bit of tail. Yeah, so we've got a bit of decay and a bit of tail. Okay, so now let's do some stuff with the velocity here. Why is that doing that? Right, okay, no note needs to be selected. Okay. Okay. Let's increase the resonance, make this more. Yeah. So let's increase the voices here. Let's leave retrigger off for a bit. So can you hear that, like, because we've assigned the velocity to the filter frequency and these notes have got like quite a low chance, when a note actually happens, it's that bit of that kind of velocity is going to stick. That note's going to get stuck and thus hold whatever value it's decided to set that frequency to. Can you see where I'm going? It's kind of interesting. Sounds like reverb, but we're not using reverb. Well, we're using quite a long release tail on the, if we turn that down. Let's turn that release up a bit. Yeah. So we've got like a sequence there. I mean, the only thing really that's random is when the note actually happens. We haven't even tried like factoring in that we can randomize this velocity even from the clip or from like a MIDI effect or whatever. But anyway, let's stay on track, stay on target. Right. So we've looked at, yeah, just kind of tweaking the filter frequency. Let's have a look at what other things that there could be. You know, the volume between oscillators. This is just operator. The LFO rate. That's pretty interesting. If you hit a key really hard. Oh, what did I do? There we go. If you hit a key really hard, then you're going to get a different LFO rate. Why don't we do that now? Let's just see what that's like. Let's just experiment, shall we? Let's make a... let's make that like a saw. Oh my goodness me. All right, and if we... I've really got to move my keyboard to the other side of the desk. Right, so let's... Okay, let's sync this. Ah, okay, so it's not assigned to the filter, it's assigned to the pitch. We don't want that. Okay, so if I was to assign the velocity to, where was it? The LFO rate. Okay, so I'm pressing very gently. I think. This is quite hard to judge. That was quite hard. That was quite hard as well. I'm confused slightly by this. Anyway, so let's just draw it in. Let's just draw in some notes here. What note was that? C1. So let's draw in like some notes here like this. And let's legato all of them. And trigger that clip. Okay, let's pull the... Yeah. Hello everyone, it's 2007 calling. How's the wub wub scene going? If we put these actually all to let's set these all to like 50%. Oh no, let's say like 63%. Yeah, that's fine. And then increase. Actually, let's put them all to minimum. So now that's just effectively randomizing the rate of the LFO based around what setting you have or whatever. That was kind of sounding really dull, super fast. I want to try it with something else as well, because you can do it with samples. You can let me find my my legendary female vocal. Yeah, that. Yeah, this lady that we've heard a gazillion times. So if I was to, oh, that's not the same lady. Here we go. So I could go into the MIDI tab here. I could go to velocity and I could say assign the velocity to the sample offset. So if I hit the key really hard, it's going to start at one position towards the end. And if I hit it very lightly, it's halfway or towards the start. So that can be a great way to kind of just chop up a sound without really doing anything. We could, what note's that? Is that the note that she's singing? No, that. Yeah, so we could just draw in like a load of these things like this. Send her off, and then just draw in like some random velocities, and it's just going to chop around the sound. Yeah. Let's put the tempo up a bit. It's Saturday. Okay, so yeah, that's some pretty interesting stuff. Sample has got a little bit more in terms of where you can assign things, and wavetable. Let's have a look at wavetable. I bet wavetable's got loads of things. I think it's pretty much whatever you click on. So if we were to go to the MIDI tab, then we've got velocity section here, and then I could say I want to use velocity to jump to the oscillator position. There we go. So I could just turn that up to like 50. And then you can see as I trigger a key, if you look at the waveform here. So it's a really good modulation source if you want to get deep into sound design. And I want to show you my favorite thing, my absolute favorite. In fact, I've done it so many times on this channel that you probably already know what it is, but I'm going to do it again anyway. I'm going to make a brand new thing from scratch, and I'm going to make a sort of drum beat thing. And my favorite thing, it's just my favorite. It's my absolute favorite thing that I like to do. I'm sure that you can do it in other programs too, but it's my favorite thing to do in Ableton, is the velocity to time of the envelopes. This is really, really cool, and I love using it for all kinds of things, and I've been having a go with using it on envelopes for drum sounds. So I'm going to make a little drum kit from scratch right now and show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do something like okay, let's start with like a kick drum type thing. So that is rather loud. Not rather loud, I mean rather high. 100 hertz. Okay. Let's apply some pitch envelope. Pull the peak down a bit. Okay, let's go down to like 30. Okay, that's a bit too low. Okay, 50 hertz, and we're sweeping up about... Oh, I like that the peak tells you how far you're going up in semitones. That's good. All right, so let's go about 24 semitones up. That's all right. Okay, now let's set the voices to 1. We only want 1 voice, and we want to have retrigger on so we can retrigger the envelope each time. Bit of release. Okay, we've got a pretty tasty kick drum there. Let's do a hi-hat now. I'm just going to draw in a load of hi-hats on the push. Set this to, oh my goodness me, set that to white noise. Let's do a high pass here. Yes. Yeah. All right, this is good. I'm so excited. I'm going to have a midway celebration guzzle. Okay, let's pull in an operator. I've come to the conclusion operator is the best thing for drums. I've made up my mind. I don't care about using it for anything else. It's my drum synth. So let's do a snare now. Put one in there. For this one, we're going to have to switch algorithms. I want the parallel algorithm, whatever they are, 4 in parallel. This one, we're going to have some white noise as well. That's a little high. Low, rather. That's too high. Okay, that's working for me. Let's pull that. Okay, let's do from oscillator A. No, lost it. Oh, it's because it copied over the... That's all right, slightly less. That'll do. Bit of pitch modulation, really short decay time. All right, we've got like a little drum beat there. That's pretty good. Okay, so yeah, now we're gonna really modulate that, like those amplitude envelopes and maybe some of the other envelopes to make this drum beat like really mutant and pliable and constantly sort of changing shape and flexing in and out, and you know, just making electronic drums a little bit more exciting. Sometimes you just want a kick and you just want it to do its job, but I personally want a kick drum to have some life. Let's put life into this cold medium of electronic music. So we're going to do that by using the time to velocity. And basically what this does is that the velocity determines the global time of the envelope. So let's sort of focus in on the hi-hat maybe and see what we can do with that. So let's go into our clip and focus on our MIDI for our hi-hat here. I'll just draw in something in. So you can hear how that the velocity is affecting the volume. I actually don't want to do that. I might set it to about 25%. I want to screw around with this time to velocity. So let's whack this to 100 and see what happens. Right, yeah. So what you could think of that is doing is that every time a new piece of velocity comes in, it just changes this shape, this envelope shape. I love it. With a bit of polyphony, it can sound quite good. If we put them to one voice with retrigger on rather. So that sort of sounds like someone kind of opening and closing the hi-hat, you know, and choking it, which sounds really good. Or like when you hear a really good triangle player, you know? So let's try it with the kick now. Do the same thing to the kick. We'll just draw in some velocity here. Put another. This one, yeah. And then again, we don't want really any velocity to the volume. I'm just going to say 25% though. And I'm going to try this. Can you hear that? Can you hear how that release time of the kick is changing because of the velocity? It's just got so much more character now. Let's do it on the snare. Okay, so I want to get a little bit more sort of funky with this. I'm going to draw in some other notes. Actually, the first thing I want to do is I want to put the kick and the snare in a choke group. So let's name some of these so we can keep on top of things. Kick, snare, and foot. Okay, because that's how you spell those words. These two can go into choke group 16. So now I'm just going to get a little bit more funky. That's a strange beat. Okay, these I'm just going to give them a low chance. Yeah, these ones. Yeah, and then these ones I'm going to give them all a lowish chance too. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of them, turn the velocity down on all of them, so you can hear how when they are at the low velocity, the envelope is fully open. So actually maybe what we want to do is, just for my brain, is to invert that. And then can we do copy fairly simply? Yeah, so now when they're at a very low velocity, oh, we need to do it on the noise for the snare as well. Yeah, so what did I say, minus? Yeah, so that kind of makes a little bit more sense to my brain. If the velocity is all the way low, then the decay is really short, and if it's all the way up, it's really wide open. So let's put the velocity all the way low and increase the velocity range, which is how it kind of randomizes. And then we can sort of set actually, I haven't thought this through. Let's set like a low value for all of them. Yeah, and then increase how much we can randomize that velocity. Yeah. It's sort of like, just makes it sound a little bit more exciting, in my opinion. You are, of course, free to have your own opinion on this. And you might be thinking, it sounds shit, I'm unsubscribing. I'll never get these 5 minutes back. Your voice sounds like it's coming from a strange place. Have you thought about increasing the quality of your microphone? And other things people say that I have to deal with. I had to get that out of my system, sorry. Let's bring back that female lady, and we can try and make a footwork thing out of this. Quite into the footwork. I'm 15 years late to it, but then I am old and I don't really get out much. So let's put put her in there. And let's just like match. Actually, I'm gonna do it with the kick. I'm gonna go to the kick. I'm gonna group this. Let's group that, and then I'm gonna put that in the. Can I do that? No. Let's cut this. Go to the kick. Go to this chain and paste it there like that. Yeah. Now I can get it whenever the kick happens. Yeah. I think that sounds fun up to me already, actually. Let's drum bass it like a complete... Gosh, I don't know. No, I want the velocity to jump around the sound. So let's go to velocity, let's go to sample offset, turn that up. Oh, what did I just do? Oh. We can do the same thing here as well. We can apply the time to velocity to the amplitude of her, you know, the envelope of her voice. And if you turn off retrigger, then every new MIDI event creates a unique envelope shape for that MIDI event, which can be like quite interesting if you're doing stuff that's looping, or if you've got a very long sample, you know, if you stick a sample in there's like 30 seconds. Yeah, you can see. Oh God, what did I do? Let's try and space it. Okay. I wonder if I can maybe do it with the drive. Another great thing about Sampler is it's kind of got its own distortion built in. So let's like, am I on? Oh no. No, I'm not using that amp for the kick. I'm using this. Oh, I'm not very good with the distortion on this. Can't even remember where it is. Oh, it's here. Well, I guess now's the time, isn't it, to just wrap my head around it. That already sounds pretty good. I want to like... Oh, that's a nasty... All right, let's see if we can route the velocity to the... shaper drive. Let's see. Am I even on the right thing? Well, I'm not really hearing that. Don't know what happened. Okay, I'm gonna pull that down a little bit, maybe to 50%. Yeah, that sounds good. Beat repeats. It's time for some beat repeats. funny. It's me and Ableton just saying yeah to each other. Yeah. 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 I wonder if I can sort of try something with like this, the send and returns. Drum racks are really good, aren't they? You can just do everything in them. You just make make a whole song in a drum rack. You can do it. I'm gonna put let's put an echo in here, and let's put a expression control on. Let's just put it on this thing here, and I'm gonna use that to send something into this return chain here. So now that we've dropped that in, we've got a send. So I'm going to, but the vocal is on the thing with the kick. So I'll just do the snare then. So we're going to send that snare into the echo. I need that vocal to come down a bit in volume. Okay, so I'm going to make a note for the expression control, which is at the same time as the snare, which is this one. And I'm going to give that a 50% chance. And then I'm going to use the velocity. This might sound bad, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to randomize the velocity on that note. So when a note happens, which has a 50% chance, there's a 50% chance that the velocity is going to generate a number between 100 and 127. So we can use the expression control, which also listens to velocity, and map that to something in this, like, let's say the delay time. Yeah. Sort of sounds bad. Maybe echo was wrong. I've changed my mind. Let's do it with the reverb, and we'll do it to the like reverb time or the size or something. Let's try that. Let's go back to expression control. Let's map the velocity to the reverb size. Oh, there we go. So this is all obviously a little bit skittery and all over the place, but what's also interesting about this is, whilst in most cases I would think, no, I'm just going to record that to some audio and then chop out the bits that I like, which I still think is a good idea. What you can do is sample the Midi. So we can make a new Midi track here, and it's basically the same, but you just do it with Midi. So I'm going to say that I've got my drum rack here. I'm going to route the Midi from that drum rack to this one. I'm going to say from drum rack. I need to say post effects. That's very important. And we're not going post any of this stuff. We're just going to go post effects. Any kind of Midi processing or anything that the clip is doing is going to get captured to a new clip, and we can watch that happen in real time. Let's do that now. I've suddenly decided I don't want the beat repeats on there, and that's not really making this demonstration much more viable, because we're not thinking about the audio, we're thinking about the Midi. So, okay, so I recorded, now I'm going to crop that down to 16 bars. I haven't used Ableton in a while. I've been taking a bit of a break. I feel like I need to get my chops back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this track. delete the clip, put that clip on there, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to remove that. Oh no, I need to keep that expression control there. I didn't actually need to do that thinking about it. Or did I? I don't think I did. I'm going to decide that I don't need to do that. And instead, I'm just going to put that clip there. So in theory, what I should be able to do now is like loop the first bar, and everything that it does will just get re-triggered again by the MIDI. Oh, we need to start the clip first. Yeah, everything got recorded over to the other MIDI clip, so... Can you hear how some of those snares are a little short? It's because they've got a low velocity, but the volume is the same. So, you know, you can still kind of get that volume, but the shape of them is different. Yeah, so I think you get the idea. So that is something that's very fun to do with Velocity. You can use it as a very powerful sound design tool. It doesn't have to be just to make things louder or quieter, although that is also something that it's very good for. Next time that you've got your favorite instrument open, whether it's like, maybe it's drift. I mean, I wonder what drift has in the modulation department. Let's have a look here. Mod. Is there any way you can assign LFO to oh, here we go. Okay, so that's the frequency. Yeah, so already you can. I don't know drift. Sorry, haven't played around with drift yet. I will. The velocity is assigned to the. Is that the amount of that you can set via velocity? I don't know. What are all these things? Ah, here you go. Yeah, so velocity. We can assign to the frequency, the LFO rate, main volume, oscillator shape. There you go. So it's not just about volume. It's about other things. It's a really incredibly useful stuff. If you've got like your synthesizer or whatever, or your sampler that's got all of these wacky LFOs and modulation things, and you just want more, remember, Velocity is there to help you too. So there you go. That's it, really. Find a good clip that this is doing. This is not my best beat. Man, that reverb's a bit loud. So yeah, the other thing is that sounded quite good, but if I was like, oh my God, that snare is ridiculous, you know, I can sort of, that's fine. We'll just pull the velocity down a little bit. There we go. Let's do it for that one too. So you can completely reshape the sound just by changing the velocity. Vocal does sound a bit silly, doesn't it? I'm going to put a high pass on it. Okay, I think that's more than enough. And like I say, the time to velocity thing is something I'm always revisiting, and always it's incredibly fun. I love it a lot. So you'll probably see it again in another video, and I've already done it loads of times in other videos. So I guess I'm just sort of going into detail about something I like to do quite often. Hopefully that's of some interest to you, and maybe it's of enough interest to you that you would like to go and support me on Patreon, where you can download this set that I'm now about to go and put there. There's loads of cool people there. There's loads of stuff going on, and it helps me. Well, it's basically my life. You will be my life. Let's have a look at some patrons now, shall we? Well, all of them. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. We'll just play out listening to the random one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love the comments. I never get wound up by any of them. They brighten up my day. To be fair, most of the comments I read are actually really, really nice. Like most of you, in fact, I would say probably all of you are really nice with your comments. I do really appreciate the comments. The fact that anyone's watching at all is still, I'm always deeply humbled. I have a problem where I'm a little bit not very good at saying thanks to people. It's just a problem I have. It's like a social anxiety, you know. When people do nice things for me, I'm a little bit like, thank you. I think. Or I could just learn some manners. I could just learn some basic manners and go on like a manners course. I wonder what the first module of the manners course would be. So, you can't stop insulting people when they do nice things to you. Hi, I saw that you were struggling a little bit with your rubbish, so I took it out for you. Fuck you! Yes, no, seriously, thanks everyone. I appreciate it. And see you next time. Come and say hi on Patreon, come and say hi on Discord, and meet some people. And we'll all have a very nice time. Cheers, bye.